Paige. How are you?
Hi, I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Good. What's going on? What's new this week?
Well, I know I told you last week I had a test, so...
Yeah, in anatomy. How'd it go?
Yeah. Well, it didn't go as good as I hoped.
Okay. So what do you think maybe you'll do for next time?
Well, I studied.
Okay. What'd you do to study?
Well, I made note cards for my notes.
Okay.
And I just kept going over the note cards.
Okay. So is that the only thing you did, or did you do anything else? Or?
Well, yeah, that's all I did.
Okay. Okay. So how do you feel like that worked for you overall?
Well, I thought I knew everything in my notes.
Right. And then when you got to the test?
Yeah, I don't know what happened.
Okay. All right. Well, do you have an example of your notes? Do you have any of your notes with you that we can go over and see what you made your note cards out of?
Well, I have a bunch of papers. I lost some, but here's some of my notes.
Okay. Well, first thing first is I definitely recommend, with this type of notebook paper, is to get a 3-ring binder, something like this that'll help you keep it nice and organized, all in one place so they're not scattered. And if you put the date on the top, that way you can keep it nice and organized to know what lecture these notes came from so that they're in an order.
Okay.
I think that'll help, first of all. That'll definitely be a big help. These notes do look good. They look very good. But I do have a couple different options for you in regards to note-taking. Would you be willing to kind of try?
Yeah.
Maybe something different with your notes?
I think I should, because my test, I don't know.
Okay, yeah. A lot of times throughout the first semester of college or throughout the first year, it's kind of a trial and error. You're going to try to see what study methods are going to help you and what study methods are going to work for you and which ones aren't. Mm-hmm. And sometimes, so for example, the things that you're doing for anatomy to study, you wouldn't maybe necessarily do for your psychology class or for your math class. So for each class, you kind of adapt to a different study mechanism, and you're going to figure out what's going to work for you, what's not going to work for you. Okay, now this is the PPR note-taking system, and this is something that really worked for me.
I never heard of this.
Yeah, I know. I had never heard of it either until I came across it one day, and it's called the PPR. It's Prepare, Process, and Recall. I started doing this my sophomore year, and I continue to do it throughout all of my classes. It helps me so much, so much. So basically what it is the first step is you prepare. So like maybe the night before or the weekend before, kind of glance at the syllabus and see what you're going to be going over in anatomy that week. So let's say you're going over chapter 6 on Tuesday. Mm-hmm. So Sunday, sit down, get out the book. Well, that's another question I have. Do you use the book at all with your notes? Do you correlate it to the book or?
No, I have it and I bought it, but I probably should use it more.
Okay.
But I usually just use my notes.
I definitely recommend using the book. The book is a definite thing that you need for this PPR system, the note-taking system. So since you bought the book, you already have it, you might as well use it. And I'm telling you, the information that your professors are giving you in class, 90 to 95% of that info is going to come right from the book. So if you're comparing the notes to the book and vice versa, it's going to be really beneficial. And it's just, going over that information more and more to get it in your head. Mm-hmm. So definitely I recommend, using the book. So first step is to prepare. So what you're going to do in this phase here, in the prepare phase, is, like I said, the weekend or the night before, get out the book, go over the chapter 6 that you're going to be going over in class that week, skim through the book, take your own notes from the book. If you look here, since I do this myself, I have them all organized day by day, week by week, what we're going to be going over. And I go through and I'll take my own notes from the chapter. So look at the notes that I take in class. These are the notes that I take in class. These are the notes that I take myself from the book. So you see the difference there? Yeah. How much information I would be missing if I didn't go through the book and take my own notes from the book. Look at all that. That's a ton of information. If you only take these notes, like your notes that you take in class, these are all you're making your note cards out of. If you use the book, you'll have so much more detail. And a lot of times when they give these exams, was it very detailed and specific questions? They want to know the nitty-gritty stuff. You're going to have to get that from the book. They're not always going to necessarily give that to you in the notes in class.
Okay.
Yeah. So a lot of it's more of the independent studying, and you get that by reading the book. So in that first step, when preparing, go through the book, take your own notes from the book. the night or the weekend before.
Got it.
Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. I wish I would have done that before, though.
Right. So then once you get done with the prepare phase and you're in class that Tuesday, you guys are going over chapter 6 in anatomy, you're starting to process this information. Things are starting to click for you. You're saying, oh, I remember reading that in the book, or, oh, I remember seeing that diagram, and things are starting to click for you. Things are connecting. You're able to correlate and connect that from the book into the notes in class and what the professor is saying. So there you are, you know, the light bulbs are going off in your head, and for everybody else, this is brand new information for everyone else. So you're already 10 steps ahead of your classmates, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And that's an awesome thing. And when you do that prepare, this process phase is amazing. And you'll see you're even more willing to pay attention in class because you're like, oh, I know this, you know? And you're more trying to pay attention because it's stuff that you kind of know and things are starting to click. Whereas for everybody else in your class that didn't prepare and didn't take their own notes out of the book, this is brand new information for them. So that's a really nice thing. And then for the recall, that's when you sit down to go study. That's when you sit down to go take the exam. It's going to make it that much easier since you prepared and you were already a couple steps ahead of everybody else. When it comes to recall this information, it's going to make it that much easier to remember. And when during this recall, when you compare the notes that you took in class, jot down examples that the professors are saying in class. You know, since you took the notes from the book in class, you're not going to have to necessarily copy word for word down what's on that PowerPoint because 95% chance those notes are going to be in your book. So instead, listen to the professor and hear what they're saying and hear the examples they're giving because those are some other things that they could also put on the test. So when it comes to recall that information, it's going to make it that much easier when you're able to correlate. So do you have any questions in regards to this PPR process?
Can I have this to
Oh,
reference?
yes, of course.
Okay.
Definitely. Do you have any questions on any of it, or?
No, I think I got it, and I really think I'm going to at least try for anatomy.
Right. Do you think it'll help you?
Yeah, I think it really will.
Okay, so how about next week? Give this a shot this week.
Okay.
Next week when you come back, bring in the notes that you took from the book and bring in the notes that you're taking in class, and we can kind of compare and see if there's anything we can modify or if it's working for you. How does that sound?
That sounds good.
Okay, any other questions?
I don't think so.
All right, well, have a great weekend. I'll see you next week.
Thanks, you too. Bye-bye.
Bye.